What's up, curious youngsters? Every country is unique, and different cultures can seem strange to us. And what if we think about television shows? It's obvious that the weirdest and most bizarre shows often come from Japan, as this country leads in creating such unusual programs. Like anyone, I'm interested in them for this and more. These are the 10 weirdest Japanese television games that exist, although some Japanese television games can be a bit complicated or even inappropriate. In fact, there are many of them that can be really fun and entertaining to watch, just like this one here. And in that sense, the Japanese in these shows never fail to make more than one person laugh. You probably don't know the game Slippery Stairs, or Escaleras Resbaladizas in Spanish. Although the objective isn't that complicated, this Japanese show is about having at least 5 players wear rubber suits of different colors so they can be distinguished more easily. And their main objective is somehow to try to reach the top of the long stairs in front of them. Maybe it seems this isn't that complicated, but the truth is that both the floor at the beginning and the steps all the way to the top are completely covered in some kind of viscous mixture that seems to be oil or something like that. As you can see, the game is kind of simple and absurd, but without a doubt, once you start watching it, you can't stop. When a player is about to win, he falls again, making the others fall too. If you're bored, watch this show and subscribe. One of the strangest yet popular Japanese television games is called Toren and has several sections. In fact, the game itself is a bit complicated to explain, but to summarize, it's about different challenges that combine skill and agility with one's own intelligence. So in case you weren't familiar with it, this is how it works. In this case, the 3 participants have to complete their first challenge on a kind of ramp that looks pretty dangerous, because if you look closely, there's a dangerous drop underneath. But anyway, here they have to figure out how to get up to the other platform, which is a bit farther away from them. And to do that, they stack on top of each other so they can finally jump. They must repeat this several times until one reaches the top, then collect balls to place at the ramp's end. The best part of this game is how little friction it has. The clothes they're wearing, since, as you'll see, both their hands and feet and their bodies are covered. But anyway, if you enjoy shows that make you a bit anxious, you should definitely like this strange show right now, even if it seems a bit unbelievable to you. Many Japanese television games are found in other countries, so the one you're about to see may seem familiar. It's called Hole in the Wall, and as its name suggests, it's basically a kind of surface with a hole in it, with a particular shape. In fact, the game itself can look pretty simple and fun at first glance. What's interesting are the wall's impossible shapes. And the thing is, this show consists of 1, 2, or even 3 people having to get through a wall that's moving toward them. And while this might not sound too complicated, the truth is that at some point those shapes are literally impossible. So the goal is for the contestant to fall into the water, right? In fact, among Japanese variety shows, many of them are somewhat peculiar, mainly because of their rather extreme challenges. And that's exactly the case with this one, which you'll see next. Its objective, while it doesn't seem too bad, becomes a bit strange, especially because of the objects the players have to bite, huh? Yes, bite, and its name is candy or not candy. You'll see. In this game, each participant gets a different object, which might make you a bit anxious, watching someone try to chew things like glass or plants, and even much more. The point of this show is to guess which objects are real and which aren't. Sweets like chocolate or any form of sugar, just like these people are doing. Watching someone try to chew on shoes can make you nervous and uncomfortable. But when these aren't real, it's truly amazing. In short, if you're looking for a show that makes you suffer and feel relieved at the same time, this might be the right one. You've likely felt uneasy eating, like at a party where you can't sit comfortably to enjoy your food. Well, that's normal. What isn't normal, let's say, is this way of eating. In this game, the unusual challenge is that someone must enter carrying a plate of spaghetti with lots of sauce. This shows a person, nearly naked except for underwear, getting into a washing machine like this man. From there, he has to try to get in with his plate of food and, well, try to eat some of it and avoid getting as dirty as possible. Since, as if that weren't enough, the washing machine will move faster and faster until it becomes practically impossible to eat anything from there. In the end, the player gets pretty messy with whatever they ate. If you had one as a kid, or if you're just curious about riding one, really, in this show, you'll see different people riding a scooter. The game may seem strange since your outfit isn't exactly normal, besides sometimes getting a bit out of control. This show features one or more players dressed in costumes or as insects like cockroaches who race down a ramp and try to get through a narrow path made of boxes. Even though it seems simple, actually watching it is very different. And as you keep winning, the path becomes a bit narrower and much longer than before. If you're bored, this show will entertain you for a while, even if it sounds a bit strange. If you're claustrophobic, joining this show is probably the last thing you'd want to do. Just by watching it, it's very likely that it'll make you really scared. And in this case, you can also feel a bit of the desperation of this contestant. The goal of the game is to answer questions or solve riddles as quickly as you can while you're placed in a completely straight position, kind of like a mummy. Here's what will happen next. If you answer less or not at all, a strange machine will wrap 2 large rolls of unusual material around your body. So definitely, sometimes the person doesn't even have time to answer half of it. As a result, at the end, a sort of pharaoh's tomb is placed around the person, making it appear as if they've been fully mummified. And at first, the idea can be quite disturbing. But anyway, if you really don't consider yourself someone who can get nervous about this kind of show, maybe you can give it a chance, unlike other Japanese television shows we've already talked about. Though a bit weird, this one will likely suit you better than the others. The goal is actually more fun than it appears and motivates you to keep watching. In this case, his name is Wall of Boxes, and the challenges are pretty funny. This game is about getting at least 4 players onto a wall of boxes, as the name suggests. Then, once they're settled, they have to look at the number panel right in front of them, with lots of numbers to choose from, and each one has to pick any of them. Here's where it gets weird. Every number has a punishment behind it. Or in other words, one or several people who will somehow try to knock down each of the walls, doing something that suits their character, like playing volleyball or skating. Whoever ends up on top of the boxes wins the game. Many of the games that we can easily see on Japanese television are ones that at some point we may have seen in videos or even in shows from our own country, like the one you are about to see. Its name is What's in the Box, and you can probably already imagine what it's about. The game's objective is simple. Usually a player from each group is chosen to come to the front. They'll see a box visible only to other participants. On the sides of the box, there are 2 holes through which the player must put their hands and touch the object inside. So far, it doesn't seem too bad, but everything inside is usually unpleasant, as we might find animals like frogs and lizards. And well, since you don't know what it is, touching it can give you a pretty unpleasant feeling. Especially because at the end, after trying to guess what it was, the player finally sees what they were touching. Besides being strange, this game can be completely unpleasant, especially if you're someone who's terrified of insects in general. You'll see for yourself in a moment since its purpose is good. This game involves 2 groups, each randomly selecting participants to compete against one another. And up to this point, you can't really tell what the game is about. The bizarre part of the show starts when both players stand at each end of a short, transparent tube. That's because they always put a dead cockroach inside. Yes, you heard right. The goal is for each person to blow from their side, to keep it from going into their mouth and make it go straight into their opponent's mouth instead. Yes, it's as disgusting as it sounds, and that's how our Japanese friends enjoy themselves on bizarre television shows.